Hi, everyone. My name is Veronica Lopez-Cuse, and I have a Bachelor in Arts and Sciences from Johns Hopkins University, graduated in 2011. I have a major in Public Health, Romance Languages, and Applied Math and Statistics from the Engineering School. So as I mentioned, I did receive a triple major while I was at Hopkins. And I remember actually the first time we were asked to declare a major, I went to the counseling office and there was a board that had paper handouts for each major that you could possibly do while at your time at Hopkins. And I went through and I read all of the titles and I picked out those that most interested me. And I took them back to my room. I put them all on the floor and I started narrowing down the ones that I liked the most. And I couldn't narrow it down past 3. But then I figured out that the electives for one major could serve as the core classes for another major and so forth. And I managed to fit them all into the 4-year curriculum. So with that, it was quite intense studying, but I do use them at this point. I think they're quite complementary in a way because so public health is the broader umbrella of what I wanted to focus on. Romance languages is part of my culture and what I am in speaking several languages. And I use that in my day-to-day work as well. And applied math and statistics was a portion that I wanted to have well developed in the field of public health as I encountered, potential data or whatever it may be. I wanted to have background in these studies. I'm an independent consultant. I own my own company. It's called VLG Consulting. And what I do is I specialize in bringing the voice of the patient into the drug development, access, and reimbursement process. So it might be working with pharmaceutical organizations to help them understand what the needs of the patient community are, how they could build protocols that best meet the needs of the patients and so forth. And it could also be working with hospitals in terms of how they bring in the patient, how they provide patient services, etc. It could be working with payers in terms of what is the unmet needs in treatment in terms of the landscape for patients and why this new therapy is really useful, etc. It is related to what I originally studied within the world of public health, as I was focusing in global health, but mostly in health systems and what you can do to improve that and get better health outcomes. And at the end of the day, only by involving the patient, which is the final consumer, are you able to get the better health outcomes for the population. I did not necessarily get there in a straight line. I did go on to get a master's after my time at Hopkins, and then I picked a career in consulting a bit at random, because there was a lot of opportunities at that point in terms of where you go after you finish your undergrad or your master's. And I ended up with a consulting company in New York that specialized in patient advocacy and patient engagement. And that is what took me in this route. And I have since then shaped it to be more global and more focused on health systems and policy interactions, which is what I was interested in. Specifically, I want to give a shout out to David Verrier. He's now retired, but he used to be in the office of pre-professional advising, I believe it's called. And he helped me in the next step coming out of Hopkins, because at that point I was a bit lost. I knew that I wanted to do public health. I had the background in applied math and statistics, but I wasn't sure what within public health I wanted to do. It's so broad. You could do epidemiology, biostatistics, health policy and management, social medical sciences. It's so many things. And so his suggestion was actually to do a bit of what I did at the beginning of my career at Hopkins. And it was to read all of the potential concentrations that you could get in a master's, read their titles, but also read the classes that each of the departments offered. And the department that offered the classes in which I said, oh, I want to take that, I want to take that, I want to take that, that would be the department that was right for me. And it was in that way that I picked health policy and management. So mentorship means to me sharing your personal experience, but also listening to the student in terms of what the student's goals are, what their interests are, and providing personalized advice in terms of that, because we're not all going to follow the same career path. So it's more about adapting your experience to that particular situation instead of trying to replicate what happened to somebody else. So for those students that are unsure about connecting to mentors and how to go about it, I would say the One Hub platform is a great resource. I do not turn anyone down that reaches out to me through that resource. And I do get quite a lot of requests for informational meetings or people that just want to ask me some questions around consulting in the healthcare space, moving to Europe, starting your own business, whatever it may be. So my biggest advice is don't be shy. Reach out, but then once you reach out, make sure that you have questions prepared so that you can make the most out of your interactions and engagement with mentors. Hope it was helpful. Thank you.